Welcome back, fellow shop rats. Today we are back on our 1970 Dodge Challenger that we so affectionately call Stitches because we're stitching this car back together again, one patch at a time. So what are we going to be doing today on Stitches? I'm not sure. We kind of got to take a step back just a little bit. Even though we've made a list and we've been checking it twice and more than twice, there's still, I feel like we're missing something. So I want to like spin the car around on the rotisserie a little bit and look at this and look at that and what be this and what be that and why is it got to look like that and well, all that kind of stuff. But first, we need to move our Fat Fanny Ford over and out of the way. The weather is total crap today. I don't want to put it outside, and I've been intending to move it over there more anyway. So I'm going to get that done, and I'll be right back. Don't go away. Don't go away. I'm Mike, and you're watching My Car's Shop. Choke needs adjusting a little bit, but I didn't move it over as much as I might. But I know I'm going to be taking it out of here at some point again, so good enough for today. So let's get Stitches spunded around so I can look on the underside and see exactly where we're at and what the most important things are before we move into the next phase of doing the trunk floor. I was actually planning to work on the trunk floor today, but my guts tell me I'm not quite ready for that yet. So, well, let's stop talking about it and get after it. Mike, what the heck's your problem? All you do is talk all the time and you just don't get stuff. Okay, the first thing I'm seeing here that I didn't put on the board is I need to get the Pour 15 patch to spread around. I bought brushes today for that, but I haven't purchased the Pour 15 patch to use on the bottom of the car like we've used in other places on the bottom of the car. So we definitely need to do that. So I'm going to go over and put that on the list. So here we go. In no particular order, I'm putting it as 11, but it actually goes over here before we do lizard skin, if we do that. So what I need to do is make that a priority and get that ordered so that we can get that going. That I probably have the money for. So I was looking at a bunch of other things today and realizing I'm just not ready for those products yet. Why am I looking at spending the money especially since I don't have it? Like, for example, this doesn't have to be done even while the car's on the rotisserie. So why am I looking at that right now? That's just prioritize. We've got a dent here that probably should have something done with it, so we're going to do the right thing and do nothing with that. But otherwise, yeah, we get some Pour 15 patch around here. I'm hoping one tube will do this. That's going to depend largely upon how aggressive I get with it. But it's expensive, but in my opinion, well worth it. I like that a little better than regular seam seal. So you've seen me use it many times before. Okay, so we pretty much had all the orange stuff done up to here, right? We got our subframe welded in down here last time. We got our seat mount plates in. We got our seat belt mount plates in. We got our seat belt mount assembly here welded in. So we're really focusing and concentrating now on the back here. I could go through and grind down all of these welds and make things pretty. Again, on this car, I don't care. It's a driver. It's all it is. It's a driver that came out of a junk pile. So if this was a high dollar car, I would be doing cut and butt welding and all kinds of other things differently on this car. The car's name is Stitches. You should see stitching all over it. We hand fabricated all this stuff, put it together. I don't mind seeing some stitching. Okay, yeah. Forgot the cross member here. We fitted that last time, or not last time. We fitted that, so that's potentially ready to go in. Yeah, I got to do some thinking here. That's funny. I spent all kinds of time looking for those the other day. I didn't remember they were on the car and have been on here since spring. And there's my big wide ones down there. Well, I made an executive decision because I got online again and realized that the price on that Pour 15 patch has gone up more than I realized. And I thought, I've got a bunch of seam sealer around here, so let me just see what I got. So I had a partial tube that we'd been using inside the car, so I thought, well, maybe I'll use that. And I think I got a tube of black. So I went and I found my tube of black, hard as a brick, $30. So Lesson learned. That one's brand new, had never been used. So, and it's only been here for a couple years. So that bothers me a little bit. But I had a tube of this Auto Body Master that I was using, and it's from Auto Value Auto Parts. And it's good stuff. I've been using it for years. And I thought, I've been using this stuff for years and years and years. It's always worked fine. Why not use what you have rather than spending the money? So I don't have quite enough to get this all done, but I did get a bunch done. There's some up in here that needs to be done and some down here. And the whole point of that is to get it on there so that it's a good base for whatever we're going to put over this, whether it is the gator lizard skin or just bed liner or rust proofing or Por 15 or I don't know, whatever we spray on it. It'll be it's sealed it more. And I just have always done that when I'm welding patch panels like this, just to be 100% safe. So I'm rethinking the Por 15 patch just because of the cost and using what I had. Like I said, it's too bad that tube was shot because it was black. I would have been able to get all of this done, but it's harder than a hard thing. It's a brick. I've only had that like 2 years. I bought it for a project that I didn't use it on, and I don't know why it dried out, but it did. So anyway, that sucks, but it is what it is. So anyway, we got as much done as we could. I'm going to look around a little more to make sure I don't have one more tube of this. I don't think I do, but just to be sure, and if I don't, then we'll move on to something else. Okay, I don't have any more seam sealer. I got all excited because I found a tube of black, and I thought, oh, that'll work, and it was RTV. It was not seam sealer, so don't use RTV. You can't paint on it. So what I'm doing now is I'm starting to do the mental prep on the trunk and how I'm going to handle this. Part of that is getting back up to speed with where we were. So we went around and traced all of this to know exactly where it goes. I remember coming down the middle, we were going to do a cut and butt. But I think I'm trying to remember exactly how I planned to do this. And I think what I intended to do was bring my edges back a little bit more. And I think the reason we traced it was so that I could determine where we're going to be in there. So my thought was, if I come in here and cut this straight across, like so, then that should blend in well, and I don't have to try to deal with these panels. Because the reality of most of these cheap panels, this is a Sherman panel, is they're built to set in over a factory panel. They're not built to replace a factory panel, and most people don't realize that. So they're built just a little bit bigger to stretch around and over things. Quarter panels are the same way. So you have to massage them. People gripe about them not fitting right, but they don't understand their original intent. And I remember that from way back in the 80s when I would buy that stuff. They were slip over panels. You put them over the original and you welded them on. So they were just always just a little bit bigger. But anyway, let's see here. So yeah, we're good back here. But we need to determine what we're doing up here. So I think what I'm going to do is pull this trunk floor back out. I have it traced, and I'm going to determine exactly how much overlap we have up there, and that's the place to start. See if I can do this without dying to death. I took my vice grips off the bottom. I think that's all that was holding us in there, other than it being jammed in there. Makes me wonder. Yep, there we go. Feel like Led Zeppelin. And it makes me wonder. Bad tune, but you get the idea. Okay, so get this out of here, like so. Yeah. Okay, I can see what needs to happen for sure. So let me get this out of your way. Okay, here we go. So yeah, originally we're going to cut and butt on that line, but I don't want to cut and butt here. So I think what I'm going to do on the other panel is come along here like this and then cut it down here more so that I don't use much of that edge. That'll leave as much of this factory edge as we can here, and then back up there originally again. We'll do the same thing on that side. So let me demonstrate here. If I can get over there because it's a pain in the butt. We will leave this here, do our cut and butt there. Okay, but we're going to, before we put it in, we're going to come down here like this and cut this down along this line here and like that. That will leave this edge alone. So we'll be cutting and butting down closer, and that'll fit better. We don't have to worry about that stretch that I was talking about. So I think that's going to be a decent way to go. And then up in here, I'm probably just going to leave that and just overlap weld that in this area here. It won't be perfect, but I don't care about being perfect. So we got some cleanup work to do here. I can also see we're not going to want to weld here. This trunk extension isn't great. So when we weld this in, we won't weld it to the trunk extension. That way, when we get the quarter panel off, when the car is off the rotisserie, any patchwork that we need to do on this trunk extension will be easy to do. And then we can weld it to the trunk floor later. So that'll work just fine. That trunk extension over there, we fabricated. There's a whole series of episodes on that. I know I drove some people crazy because it took me like 3 episodes to make that trunk extension, but it was quite complicated because it's not only the top, but it's also the piece that goes down. So I went into great detail on how to make that. And then back here, I think we're good on this side, but we got a bunch of trimming to do in here. Because we're leaving, we're going to attach this back up in here like this. So we're going to want to trim out some of this and trim out a bunch of this here. So, okay, I'm making a plan here. Okay, we made our lives a little easier now, tipped it up. Yeah, we're good. Nothing, that's all obviously ready to go. Little cleanup work to do in here probably, but the rest of this, I think we're okay. We want to do some cleanup work here, but there's enough material here to do what I talked about. You can see that if I come in here and come down and cut that around, okay, get that closer to that lip on the new panels, that'll work. A little bit of cleanup to do here. So, yeah, that looks good otherwise. Remember, we made this, and both of these frame rails were handmade. And then back here, we got to clean all of this out. Okay, so good thoughts here. So I think the way I'm going to handle this, I want to gel on this for a while. And then the next session, when I come out to work on this car, I'll get all of that cleaned up. Then I'll be able to take a break from it again, get my head wrapped around it a little bit more. Then we can start installing the trunk floor. I think that's the way to do it. It's been quite a while since Mark and I got this to this point, and there's still more stuff we need to cut out. So I think it's important to get that done and take that approach. We've got a lot of laying out to do as far as where we need to drill plug weld holes. I can see there's some things that I put in that maybe need to be taken out, or more likely we just need to finish welding them in because some of them I only tacked in place. Probably just need to be finished. The other thing I have to be careful of is I remember if I cut some of this apart, we can create body flex back here. So I need to be really careful about that as well. I think we're going to be okay, but it's something to watch. So we will keep our eyes on that as well. I think we got enough bracing up here. It's not going to be a big deal. But remember, these frame rails aren't really frame rails. They're just boxes that go on the bottom of the car for things to attach to. So they're more like a substructure than a real frame. The body, the strength of this car is in the entire body, not in what we call frame rails. That's actually a misnomer in some ways. They're not really frame rails. But what else do you call them? I don't know. It's very important to me to not only share the high, holy, sexy work, but stuff like this, which is not very exciting, but it's the bigger picture of how things need to be done. There's a lot of thought that goes into things, exactly how I'm going to handle them. That's probably more so in some ways when you're fabricating than when you're buying and installing parts. But even this is a bought and trunk floor. One of our channel viewers, Birds Do It Yourself Garage, donated to the channel. And there's still thought that has to go into that as to how I'm going to put that in, how I'm going to install it, what needs to be cut out, what needs to be left in. I've got a pretty good handle on it now. But in order to do that work, I need to move this car out about 4 feet, which means this car either needs to be further over there or it needs to be out of here. And today's not the day for either of that because I do have other things that are going on today. So I think that's kind of where I'm going to leave it. We've got a bunch of the seam sealing done under the car. Whether I get the 415 or buy one more tube, I'll check the price on that auto value stuff. I think it's about $10. And if it's $30 to $35 for 415 with shipping, I can't justify it. Honestly, I just can't justify it. So, penny saved is a penny earned and all that kind of stuff. But it's not about being cheap. It's about being frugal. It's about using your money wisely, being a good steward. And as I always say, I pick up pennies off the ground and people laugh at me. And I hold up a penny and I'll say, Elon Musk didn't become the richest man in the world without starting out with this. You don't know that this penny that I got today might be the very foundation of $300 billion in wealth. You never know. So there you go. All right, that's going to do it for this one. I'll get off my soapbox. Thanks for being here. I know it's a quick and a dirty one today, but I really need the mental time, and I got to be able to get things different over here to really move this out where I want it and be safe. I don't want to flip this car and have a disaster and don't want to do that. So, all right, we will catch you on the next one, and thanks for being here. Rock!